everybody and welcome back to the offline video series of Geography of Class 5. So today in this video we are going to start with a new lesson. Lesson number 21, Busy at Work, our internal organs.
Internal organs. Internal organs of the human body. To survive and reproduce, the human body relies on major internal body organs to perform certain vital functions. When two or more organs along with their associated structures work together, they become component parts of a body system. Few of the easily recognizable internal organs and their associated functions are the following. The brain. The brain is the control center of the nervous system and is located within the skull. Its functions include muscle control, coordination, sensory reception, integration, speech production, memory storage, and elaboration of thought and emotion. The lungs. Lungs are two sponge-like cone-shaped structures that fill most of the chest cavity. Their essential function is to provide oxygen from inhaled air to the bloodstream and to exhale carbon dioxide. The liver. The liver lies on the right side of the abdominal cavity beneath the diaphragm. Its main function is to process the contents of the blood to ensure that its composition remains the same. This process involves breaking down fats, producing urea, filtering harmful substances, and maintaining a proper level of glucose in the blood. The kidneys. Kidneys are two bean-shaped organs located at the back of the abdominal cavity, one on each side of the spinal column. Their function is to maintain body's chemical balance by excreting waste products and excess fluid in the form of urine. The heart. Heart is a hollow muscular organ that pumps blood through the blood vessels by repeated rhythmic contractions. The stomach. Stomach is a muscular, elastic, pear-shaped bag laying crosswise in the abdominal cavity beneath the diaphragm. Its main purpose is digestion of food through production of gastric juices, break down, mix and churn the food into a thin liquid. The intestines. Intestines are located between the stomach and the anus. They are divided into two major sections, the small intestine and the large intestine. The function of the small intestine is to absorb most indigested food. The large intestine is responsible for absorption of water and excretion of solid waste material. All these are important internal organs of the body. In higher classes, you will learn more about them.
From the title you might have understood that in this lesson we are going to study about some internal organs of our body parts. Basically, we are going to study about our own body in this lesson. So in this lesson, we are going to study about respiration, digestion, skeletal system of human body and nervous system of human body. So first of all, we are going to start with the respiration. Our body needs continuous supply of oxygen, food and water throughout the time. So we get oxygen from the environment. We breathe in oxygen and give out CO2. But actually, this is the physical process which takes place through nose. What is the exact internal process and which organs are involved in it, that we are going to study in this lesson. So first of all, let us have a look on the diagram of respiratory system and the different organs which are involved in this system, so that I can explain you each and every organ and you can understand it very easily. So as I have shown you in the picture, there are four important organs involved in the respiratory system. That is nose, trachea, which is also called as windpipe. Next is lungs, and last one is diaphragm. So first we will start with the nose. Nose is an external and first organ which is the part of respiratory system. The two openings of nose are known as nostrils. Through nose we take in air, and in that air O2 molecules are present. That means when we take in the air, along with that air we also take in O2 molecules. These O2 molecules are supplied from nose to the nasal chamber, and from nasal chamber to the windpipe. Windpipe is also called as trachea. After trachea it is passed to the lungs. So trachea is considered as the entry point for both the lungs. This trachea divides into two main branches, and these branches of trachea are known as bronchi. The left branch goes towards the left lung and the right branch goes towards the right lung. Both these left and right branch of trachea are known as bronchi. Further, each bronchi again has some sub-branches, and they are known as bronchioles. These bronchioles are very fine hair-like projections which are present in the lungs. At the end of each bronchiole, there is a air sac-like structure which is known as alveoli. These alveoli contains oxygen in it. This oxygen is given to the blood by alveoli in the lungs, and later blood takes that oxygen with the help of blood vessels to all the different body parts. And when the blood comes back, it brings CO2. That CO2 is again given back to the alveoli, and alveoli gives that CO2 out of the nose through the same passage of air pipe. After that, we are going to study about the organ diaphragm. Diaphragm is an highly muscular leaf-like organ which is present below the lungs. That means lungs are only the organ which rests on the diaphragm. Diaphragm divides the body into two different cavities, that is thoracic cavity and abdominal cavity. When the diaphragm moves downward, we breathe in, and the alveoli which are present in the lungs get filled. And when the diaphragm moves upward, we give out CO2 and the alveoli becomes empty in our lungs. Now we are going to study about how the gaseous exchange in the lungs takes place. As I have told you that the air which is taken in through nose is given to the lungs through windpipe or trachea. Now this lungs consist of bronchi, further they consist of bronchioles, and at the end of the bronchioles there are alveoli. So finally oxygen reaches to the alveoli. Blood is already present in the lungs. This blood takes O2 molecules from the alveoli. Now this oxygen-rich blood is being passed or pumped to all the body parts with the help of blood vessels. And when the blood comes back to the lungs, it brings CO2 along with it. Now this CO2-rich blood comes into the lungs and gives the CO2 molecules to the alveoli. These alveoli passes that CO2 molecules from the same passage to the nose, and nose gives out that CO2. And to this process we call it as exhalation. Now we are going to study about the inhalation and exhalation. The definition of inhalation is the process of taking in O2 molecules along with the air through nose is called as inhalation. And the process of giving out CO2 through nose is called as exhalation. When one inhalation and one exhalation is completed, we call it as one breath.
Busy at work are internal organs. Can you recall? Take a large sheet of thick paper about the height of a child in the class. Put it on the wall as shown in the picture and secure it with tapes. Ask one student to stand against it and another to draw the outline of the body. Now get other students to point out the right places of the following organs within the outline: the brain, lungs, heart, and stomach. Now recall the following details about each of the organs. 1. In which cavity of the body is it situated? What is its function? Which are the bones that protect it? Answer: 1. Brain is situated in cranial cavity. Awareness of sensations and emotions and control of body movement are functions of brain. Skull bone protects brain. 2. Lungs and heart are situated in thoracic cavity. Lungs help in mixing oxygen in blood and removing carbon dioxide. Heart manages blood circulation of body. Rib cage protects lungs and heart. 3. Stomach is situated in abdominal cavity. Consumed food is stored here. Stomach is not protected by bones. It is protected by thick muscles. Can you tell what bodily needs or sensations do you become aware of even though you are reading a book? Answer: while reading book, we could feel breathing activity as well as heartbeats. Also, we could feel digestion of food in stomach. Processes like respiration, digestion go on inside the body continuously with the help of certain organs. Let us learn something about these processes and the organs that carry them out. Try this. Use a watch to count how many times you breathe in 1 minute when you are sitting comfortably. From this, work out approximately how many times you breathe in an hour. Answer: when we sitting comfortably, we breathe 15 times in a minute. So, we breathe 15 into 60 is equal to 900 times in an hour. Respiration. We need air, water, and food to live. It is necessary for the body to get a continuous supply of oxygen. We get this oxygen from the air through breathing. That is why we breathe continuously. In our body, there are organs that carry out the work of respiration. Read their names in the diagram on the next page and also their description. The diagram above shows our respiratory organs. When we inhale, the air from outside goes in the trachea and through its branches into the lungs. In the lungs, these branches divide further into smaller and smaller branches. At the end of the last branches, there are air sacs or alveoli. Between the thoracic cavity and the abdominal cavity, there is an organ like a flexible sheet. It is called the diaphragm. The diaphragm and its movement. When diaphragm moves downward, we breathe in and the incoming air fills in the alveoli in the lungs. When the diaphragm moves upwards, air in the lungs is pushed out. Exchange of gases. When the outside air reaches the alveoli, the oxygen in it passes into the thin blood vessels around the alveoli. With the blood, it flows to all parts of the body. At the same time, the carbon dioxide that is brought by the blood from all parts of the body enters the air in the alveoli. When we exhale, the carbon dioxide is also given out with the air. In this way, an exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide gases takes place in the alveoli.
Now let us perform an activity.
Try this. Count how many times you breathe in 1 minute just after you have run 100 meters. Get someone else to count how many times you breathe in 1 minute while you are asleep. What is the difference in the two counts?
Now we are going to study about the effects of smoking.
The effects of smoking. If one keeps smoking over a long period of time, the toxic substances in the smoke collect in the respiratory tract. As a result, the air that enters the lung is not sufficiently purified and the impurities of the air begin to accumulate in the lungs. As a result, the efficiency of the lungs is reduced. the likelihood of getting diseases of the lungs increases. The solid particles in the tobacco smoke from the cigarette or bidi forms a sticky layer inside the alveoli. This reduces the amount of oxygen supplied to the body. In addition, some toxic substances in the tobacco also enters the alveoli. These ill effects lead to diseases of respiratory organs, including life-threatening diseases like lung cancer. Passive smoking. If there are people around us who smoke, then we may have to face the consequences of smoking even if we do not smoke ourselves. That is why there is now a ban on smoking in public places.